So welcome back to the channel. Injuries continuing to hit at the Rugby World Cup. Malcolm Marx, the Springbok hooker, is the latest to be ruled out of the tournament. Gutted for him, obviously gutted for the Springboks, but a reminder that this tournament may well be won by the side that has the best strength in depth. It is not the first time we've seen a really important player be ruled out of the tournament. So I'm going to get into that in this video and also reflect on the Springbok team selection that was announced yesterday. Haven't had a chance to do a video on it yet, so I thought now would be a good opportunity. So drop a comment down below. Let me know what you make about Malcolm Marx's injury and just the injuries in general, and also about the team the Springboks have selected. And also like the video, subscribe to the channel, but let's get into it. So I'll come on to the Springbok team to play Romania in just a moment, which is a very, very interesting selection. I think they've had a little bit of fun with that, 4 scrum halves in the squad. But let's start off with Malcolm Marx. You just feel, you feel gutted, don't you, for all of these guys that at this point in time, they pick up the sort of injury that rules them out of the World Cup. We've seen it with other nations, and now it's the South African hooker who's going to miss out. And actually, he's had a really good 2023 so far, I think. I know we've seen him come off the bench quite a lot over the years for the Springboks. I think he was starting more regularly. The good news for the Boks is that they've got Bongi Mbonambi, who is a more than capable replacement. He often captains the side when he comes on, and the replacements happen in the second half. So he's an experienced guy in that squad. He is a leader, but for Malcolm Marx, you feel absolutely gutted. They've obviously got Deon Fourie in there as well, who's on the bench this weekend. And Jacques Nienaber, I saw in the press release that the Springboks put out, said that Marco van Staden has also been listed in a lot of their matchday squads as hooker option as well. What that basically means is they're not bringing anyone else out at the moment. They're not looking to replace Malcolm Marx. They feel like they have enough guys in the squad, so that's where they are in terms of personnel. But as I said in the intro to the video, the big thing for me is that this is a reminder of injuries are going to happen. The game, where it is now in the age of professionalism we're currently in, the level of physicality, there will be injuries. There will be big injuries. We've seen it with France, for example, where you look at Untermack, Willemse. I think they've had a few others as well, haven't they, of guys missing out. Jonathan Danty is kind of touch and go. New Zealand have had it with some frontline players as well. And South Africa as well have had it. Lekanyuam, Andre Pollard, Lou De Jager. A number of kind of first team players, arguably, maybe not with Andre Pollard these days, but certainly the others that are dropping out because they're injured. It is going to continue to happen throughout the World Cup. And it is a reminder that it could be a squad who has the best depth that goes on and wins it. And that's why I actually think the Springboks are fairly well placed in the same way that the French are, that these are squads that are capable of absorbing some of these losses. Now, obviously, it gets to a point where they can't keep happening. But at this moment in time, I don't look at South Africa and think, oh, well, I tell you what, that means they're not going to win the World Cup anymore. Because of the squad they have, because of the process they've been through over the last 4 years, I think there are still guys that can come back into that squad, can come into the squad and do an excellent job. Gutted for Malcolm Marx, but I think the Springboks will be able to deal with it. But I think, for me, as I say, the big reminder for me is squad depth is going to be key at this World Cup. You can let me know if you agree, disagree, your thoughts generally on the Malcolm Marx injury in the comments section down below. Let's get on to the Springbok team to play Romania. As I say, I think it had all of us smirking and having a little chuckle, in all honesty. I'll run through it, starting in the front row with Nche, Mbonambi and Koch, then Kleyn and Orie in the second row, Van Staden, Kwagga Smith, and Duane Vermeulen complete the pack. Reinach at 9, Willemse at 10. In the centres, it's Esterhuizen and Moodie. Mapimpi one wing, Grant Williams on the other, and Willie le Roux at fullback. On the bench, it's Fourie, Kitshoff, Nyakane, Snyman, Wiese, Hendrikse, Faf de Klerk, and Jesse Kriel. So let's get straight into it with the 4 scrum halves. It raised everyone's eyebrows, didn't it, when the Springboks named their squad and they had 4 scrum halves in the team. We've seen teams take 2 previously, but 4 was kind of a lot more than we were expecting. I do wonder whether a part of it is... this sounds like Jacques Nienaber and Rassie Erasmus having a little bit of a laugh. I know they wouldn't have a team selection at a World Cup purely for entertainment or having a little dig at everyone else and everyone that criticised them for that. But it is quite amazing having that number in the squad. I mean, with Grant Williams, I guess you would say it is a reflection of his athleticism and what he brings to the team, that you can put him on the wing. You know that he's going to be able to do a job there. In terms of Cobus Reinach coming in and starting, I quite like it because you might as well rotate your 9. The Springboks will beat Romania. We all know that. So you want to rotate your squad. You want to give guys minutes. And then Hendrikse, Faf de Klerk, where they come in, how they use them will be kind of interesting. I just wonder with 10, like could we see Faf at 10? I know he's kicked quite a lot. would that be something they'd potentially look at? I mean, it might be utterly ridiculous, but I'm just trying to work out how they're going to use some of those replacements with Hendrikse, with Faf de Klerk, how they might rejig that back line in the second half. I suppose the other part of this as well is your problem solving ahead of time, if you like. As we mentioned, let's say quarterfinal, semi-final, final for the Springboks, and Libbok goes down and Willemse goes down and they're short on options. Are they maybe looking to use their bench as a way of experimenting to a degree with things so that when it comes to maybe more important games, tougher games, they have run through that scenario before? I do wonder whether that's maybe part of their thinking. I'm sure they would never admit to that because it would appear too disrespectful to the opposition. But from my point of view, it would maybe make sense a little bit. There were a few other bits as well that I wanted to get into with the squad. Canan Moodie coming in at 13. I think we're all excited to see how he goes. Makazole Mapimpi coming in on the wing, which is a fascinating one because it's almost, I don't know at what point in time it became that Mapimpi wasn't one of the first choice wingers. We saw Kolbe and Arendse start the game against Scotland. And Mapimpi is still just exceptional, isn't he? Such a good player. And he's been around for a long time that maybe there's some other options in terms of Moodie, in terms of Arendse that are more exciting to all of us because they're newer, because they're fresher. But I think Mapimpi has always been good for the Springboks. It's a great option to be able to bring in. I just think it's maybe kind of interesting, as I say, that you feel like he's not the first choice guy at the moment, but is still really, really good. So, yeah, excited to see how he goes. Willemse at 10. Giving Marnie Libbok a little bit of a rest. The pack is strong. They've rotated there as well. Is there any update on Etzebeth, actually? That's one thing I need to look into to see how he's doing. Obviously rested here. But other than that, it's kind of a squad that you would expect for a game like this when you've had a tough game against Scotland to start the pool stages. You've obviously got the game against Ireland coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Rotate the squad. Give guys minutes. Rotation is something we've seen from the Springboks regularly over the last couple of years anyway, so it's no surprise, and it certainly makes sense, I think, at this stage of the competition. I suppose the big interesting things are, as I say, the four scrum halves. 10's kind of interesting for the box at the moment as well, and then, you know, what's on the wings as well. So in particular, let me know in the comments, how are they going to use Hendrikse and Faf de Klerk off the bench? Am I just off the wall talking nonsense that we maybe could see Faf as an option at fly half? I don't know, I'm just not sure. I mean, I suppose maybe it could be more of a like for like with Grant Williams possibly, or if they're looking to bring them onto the wings. I feel like wings are the kind of position you can put people on even if they haven't played a huge amount there and they're able to adapt to a little bit more regularly. Fly half maybe not. So I don't know, it's just an idea. Could be an idea moving forward. So let me know in the comments section, what do you make? What do you make of the team? What do you make of the Malcolm Marx injury? What do you make of the suggestion that it is squad depth that is going to be crucial at this World Cup? It's a long old World Cup. We've got another 6 weeks to go. There will be red cards. There will be injuries. It's the squads that are able to absorb them and deal with them that I think could ultimately go all the way. And that's where South Africa is set up really well. As are other teams, French in particular, I think have shown that they have a squad depth as well. But yeah, look forward to reading your comments. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you in the next one.